Yarny friends, it's Dawn from Ninja Money Crochet. Today's video is going to be all about the things that you'll need to bring to your first craft show. So stick around and we'll get right into it. Before I jump into today's video, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that little icon right down there in the corner. That'll automatically subscribe you to my channel. And while you're down there, go ahead and ring that notification bell so that you'll know whenever I upload a new video. And if you like content like this, please give it a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that you like my videos, and it also helps me judge what type of content you like to see on my channel. So, your very first craft show, there are some things that you're going to want to bring with you. And I'm talking about going to an outdoor craft show. So one of the very first things that you're going to want to have, besides your inventory, besides the things you want to sell, in my case I sell crochet plushies and other crocheted items, is a tent or a canopy. And I recommend that you get one of the ones, those nice white easy up canopies. They're commercial grade with the sides on them. And this is the reason why. My very first craft show about a year or two ago, about 2 years ago, I borrowed a tent from a friend, well, a friend's dad actually, who used to do craft shows years ago. And he had the older style blue easy up, which is the nice umbrella style that goes up in the center, not too difficult to put up. However, it had no sides on it, and we had no clue how to get the tent back down again. So we got it set up and everything, which was okay. It had kind of the angled legs, not the straight legs. So it actually took up a little bit more room than the 10 by 10 square, which is usually what is typical for a craft show. You get a 10 by 10 space. It wasn't too bad because, I mean, most other crafters are kind of pretty good about that, and we weren't in between two other crafters. If you have a crafter on your left and a crafter on the right and one in the back, you need to really stay within that 10 foot by 10 foot footprint. But it was okay. The problem was that it started to rain, and it rained hard. It poured. Everybody was packing up because it poured. It was downpouring like buckets. Our stuff stayed dry. We got it. We just threw it all in our buckets, got it into the car or the van. The problem is we couldn't figure out how to get the tent down. And because it was an older tent, it was pooling water on the edges of the tent. We finally had to ask the vendor that was next to us. He had a beef jerky vendor. We asked him, do you know how to get this tent down? Because he had one similar to it. He came over and he showed us where the pins were. Now, I did not have the hand strength to pop the pins on it. Luckily, my husband was with us, and he was able to pull the pins to get this tent to come down. Well, he got all the pins down, and once he did that, the water that was pooling, whoosh, down. And it down, right down his back. All the way down his back, down to his shoes. So he was soaked, completely and totally soaked from head to toe. It was not pleasant. Got the tent down, got it in the car, and he was just miserable because he was absolutely soaking wet. Was not fun. So after we got home, we decided that we were going to find out where we could get a new tent from. We looked around. We have Sam's Clubs in our area. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Sam's Club. It's like a Costco. I mean, I think they're pretty much all over. I think they're owned by Walmarts. So we found this tent. We found the nice commercial grade easy up tent with the sides, everything. Went to Walmart, put it in our cart, finished our shopping, got out to the car. It didn't fit in our car. I was just like ready. I just stood there and cried. My husband was like, don't cry, don't cry. He took it all out of the box. It was not together in the box. So the tent and the frame and everything wasn't together. It wasn't in the bag. He managed to get it into the car, folded up the box, and shoved it in the back of the car. We had to fold our back seats down. He managed to get it into the car, and I just sat there in the seat, like, completely defeated and was ready to, I was crying. And he just looked at me and he said, well, I guess I get to buy another car now, don't I? So my advice to you is make sure the tent will fit in your car before you buy the car. Make sure all of your stuff that you're going to bring will fit in your car before you sign up to a craft show. Because I had like 8 craft shows all lined up at this point. So make sure the tent fits in the car before you sign up for craft shows. Just my little advice. Next thing you're going to get is your folding tables. I've got 2 6-foot folding tables and 1 4-foot table. The other thing that you're going to want with your tables is you're going to want some nice fitted tablecloths. I get these fitted tablecloths, and I can put a picture, insert a picture in of the tablecloth. They are spandex, stretchy, they go over down to the floor, and they cover the whole table, and they go right down to the floor. The reason you're going to want a tablecloth that goes down to the floor is that you can put your overstock or your empty bins or whatever under the table and hide them, so you don't have them all like stacked up behind you or something. It looks so much more professional if you hide your overstock bins under the table. Another thing you're going to want to get is some type of a banner or sign. Maybe if you're outside, you can have a sign hanging up on the back of your booth, or one on the front of your table. I have one on the front of my table. I should have a picture of it, and I'll insert it in here. I got one on Amazon. I thought I was ordering a wider one. I got one. It's kind of narrow. It's only like maybe 13, 14 inches wide. I'd like to get a wider one. So what I do is I put this piece of I put a piece of fabric on the table, then I put the banner on to make it look wider. I really wish I had gotten a wider one though, because I think it would look much better a little bit wider. But I have my logo on it, and I have my company name. I have Ninja Bunny Crochet. Some people also put like their email address on it or their website. I don't have a website per se. I do have an Etsy shop, and I'm on Facebook. So you can do you would want something, because that way when people walk by your booth, they see your brand, they see your logo, they see who you are. They can say, oh, there's Ninja Bunny Crochet. Obviously she does crochet. Or they know what you're selling when they see your logo and they see your brand. Let's see. Another thing that I would suggest that you get when you're doing your craft shows is some type of a fold-up wagon. Anything that folds is always good. Or some type of a hand truck. We've got a fold-up wagon, because then you can put all of your totes, your merchandise totes, in the wagon, and your tables and stuff, and bring them into your space. Not every craft show can you pull your car up to your space. Even on the outdoor shows, you may not be able to pull your car right up to where your spot is. You might have to bring your stuff in from the parking lot. Especially indoor shows, you obviously have to bring your stuff up from the parking lot. Not everybody's going to be able to pull right up to the door. Sometimes you have to be, 4 or 5 cars out. Sometimes you're out in the middle of the parking lot and you have to bring all of your stuff in. So you're going to want some type of a wagon or a hand cart or something to lug all of your things in. It makes it so much easier. Another thing that you're going to want to have is, let's see, I'm looking at my list. Sorry if I'm looking down. I'm looking at my list that I have. I have here some type of a chair for because you're not going to, you do want to stand for, but you're not going to want to stand the entire time. These craft shows can sometimes be 6-8 hours, and you don't want to stand the entire time, so you are going to want a chair. My suggestion would be to get one of the tall director's chairs so that you're sitting up, because you want your display to have height. And if you're down behind the display, customers walking by might not even realize that you're there, and they might think there's nobody in your booth, and they might just walk on by because they think there's nobody there. Or if you're down low and you're kind of slouched a little bit, they might think you're disinterested or you're on a break or something, and they might, again, walk on by. But if you're sitting up in a director's chair or something, so you're up more eye level so that you can make eye contact with them as they walk by and say, hi, how you doing today? Nice day, isn't it? Or how are you? How are you doing? You know, just to say hi as they walk by, they'll come in and they'll engage and they'll look at your merchandise. Or if you don't have a tall chair like that and you just have a shorter chair, put it on the end so that you can see people as they walk by. And you might be tempted to bring some crochet with you as you're sitting there on the thing. I would suggest either, if you do that, that's fine. But if there's customers walking around, you might want to refrain from doing that because it would give the appearance that you're not interested in engaging with customers. And you want to be interested in engaging with the customers and talking to them, because that way it brings them into your booth. You want to pay attention to your customers. Now, you don't want to hover over them and, you know, be pushy, a pushy salesman, but you do want to engage with them and bring them into your booth. So you don't want to look like you're not interested in them, but you do want to, you know, interact with your customers and be friendly with them. Oh, the other thing too, when you arrive at your craft show, be on time. Don't, like, even though it might take you, let's say setup starts at 8 a.m., get there at 8 a.m. You know, even though the craft show doesn't start till 10, get there at 8. Or maybe even 8:15, 8:30. You don't want to wait to the last minute to set up, because you want to make sure that you're set up and you're ready. And the reason I say get there on time like that is because then that gives you time to interact with the vendor on either side of you. And that you get to know them, because if you're there just in time, you have no time to interact with the other vendors around you. And if you're there by yourself, you want to get to know the people on either side of you, because you might need them to watch your booth so that you can go to the bathroom or you can go grab something to eat. And networking too is also huge when it comes to craft shows, because maybe the people on either side of you or across from you, they might have been doing craft shows for 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and they might know what are some really good craft shows. And if you get to know them and talk to them, they can give you advice on what shows are good and where to find some really good shows in your area. So it's a real good idea to get there on time. And another thing too is don't break down early. That is, even if you're not selling as much as you want to sell or you hope to sell, maybe another vendor is selling really well. And if you break down early, the customers that are there, they think, oh, well, the show's ending, they're breaking down, and they're going to leave. And some other vendor might miss out on a sale, or you might even miss out on a sale because you're breaking down. And it just looks really, really unprofessional if you break down early. It looks bad for you as a company, as a business. It looks bad. It hurts another vendor who might be selling well, and it hurts the event coordinator because you're breaking down, and they advertise this venue to be open till 3 o'clock, and you're breaking down at 2 o'clock. And it just looks bad. You don't look good as a vendor when you do this. And event coordinators, they talk to each other too. And if you're trying to get into, let's say, a really big, hot juried show, and, you know, event coordinator B talks to event coordinator C and says, well, yeah, you know, I had Ninja Bunny Crochet at my event, and they left at 2 o'clock, and they were just, you know, and the other one was like, well, I don't want them coming to my event and leaving early, so I'm going to cross them off the list of even coming to my event. So don't leave early. It's just rude. Just don't do it. Even if you're not making any money on that last hour, or it wasn't a good show for you, it might be a good show for somebody else. Plus, it's just rude. It's just plain rude. Don't do it. So, next thing, your display. You're going to want some shelves. maybe those wooden crates, maybe use a cup hold, like those mug tree holders to hang keychains on. You're going to want some height. You don't want to just put things flat on the table. It doesn't draw the eye in of the customer. You want to draw the eye of the customer into your display. And if you have, let's say you're selling, what's a good one? I sell sunflower turtles, and I sell different kind of turtles. I could have 15 turtles with me. I'm not going to put 15 turtles out on my table. I might put 4 or 5 turtles out and put some other items out. And as I sell them, I'll put another one out. Because if I have put 15 turtles out there, somebody walking by goes, oh, I really like to get one of those sunflower turtles. But you know, she's got like 15, 20 turtles. She'll have them for a while. So I'm going to walk around and see what else is there before I come back and buy a turtle. But if she sees I only got 4 or 5 turtles out, she's like, oh, there's only a few of them. I better go in and buy that before they run out. So it helps you to get that sale, because they're going to think, oh, you only have a few of them, and I really want one of those sunflower turtles. So I'm going to go in there and buy it now so that I don't miss out on getting that sunflower turtle. So that's how you want to draw the customer in and get that sale, so that they don't end up going around somewhere else and spending all their money before they come back to get that sunflower turtle. So it's kind of a marketing strategy. So don't put everything out. Put a few out. Even though you have a whole bunch of them, put them under your table. So, but like I said, make your use, and also use, if you're going to not tag every individual item with a price, make sure your signs are very clear what your prices are. Because a lot of times people feel a little uncomfortable and they don't necessarily want to ask you what the price is on this or the price is on that, because if it is a little bit out of their price range, they're going to feel awkward when they have to put it back. So make sure your prices are very clear on your items. It doesn't mean your prices are too high or your prices are too low if it's out of a customer's price range. It just means that's not a customer, that's not your customer. So make sure your prices are very clear. I like to use some signs, and I like to make sure each one of my items are individually priced as well, because I split my table with somebody else, and she might not know what my prices are, even though it's on a sign. She might not know what my prices are. If she's busy dealing with her items, she may not know what the prices are on my items. So if my items are tagged and she's doing the sale because the person's picking up one of her items and one of my items, she can just pick it up and say, oh, okay, this is $10. Put it in the bag. Okay, $15. Put it in the bag. And that way she knows how much my items are too, if she's the one taking the money for the sale. That's another thing. So make sure your items are tagged. That's how I do it. If you want to use just signs, that's okay, but make sure it's done clearly so that the customers can see how much each of your items cost. I do business cards, but I think it's nice to have a business card holder on your table so they're not just scattered all over the table, so they're in a nice little holder, and I think that works out really well. I would also have thank you cards that you can put inside the bag, or you can hand to the customer when they purchase something, because not everybody wants a bag, but you should have bags in case the customer wants a bag. And what I do is I set my bags up ahead of time. I'll put a business card and a thank you card in the bag ahead of time, so all I've got to do is grab the bag, put the item in the bag, hand it to the customer. And you might want to have tissue paper on hand, and especially if you make anything that's breakable, like if you do crocheted covers over mason jars or candles or something, you want to make sure you have tissue paper to wrap it up so that it doesn't get broken. But even if you just do plushies, you might want to have some tissue paper on hand, because sometimes, and this has happened to me a lot, the customer is purchasing the toy for their child or grandchild, or for somebody, even an adult, that's with them. And they don't want the person to know that they're buying it. so you can wrap it up in tissue paper and put it in the bag. Because my bags are like a milky white, but you can still kind of see through the bag. Or if you happen, or some people like to use the clear bags so that other people can see what they've purchased as they're walking around. But if somebody's buying it for a gift, they might not want the person they're with to see it, or if they need to get it into their house without somebody who lives with them seeing it. So you can wrap it up in the tissue paper and put it in the bag so that the customer can keep it concealed from the person they're buying the gift for. And let's see. Some other things that you're going to want to have is you're going to want a notebook to write down any kind of custom orders. You might want a receipt book. Now, most people that I've known have not asked for a receipt, but somebody might, so you might want to have one on hand just in case. Pens, tape, like either box tape or Scotch tape, just in case you need to tape a sign up or tape something down. A calculator. You want scissors, safety pins, zip ties, extension cords, all those kind of things you're going to want to have with you. And of course, you're going to want your cash. You're going to want cash to make change. Now, I use a locked cash box. This is my preference. Some people like to have it in a fanny pack that they keep on them, or they like to have it in an apron. I like to have mine in a locked cash box because I think it looks more professional to have some type of like a cash register, so I have it in a cash box. Now, I have a partner that I work with, so I split the table with a friend. So there's always one of us at the table at all times, so our cash box is never unattended. But if you're working alone, you may want to have it in your apron or in a fanny pack so that you never have to leave your cash unattended. It's always right on you. But that's up to you. And you probably are going to want, this is how I break down my cash. I bring $51 bills. I bring $25, $10, and I don't usually bring 20s. That's just the way I do it. It's completely up to you how you break down your change. That's what I do. I usually end up with a lot of change, but I do it just in case because there are times where I have like run out of singles or something. I price my items where my tax is included, so all of my items I have no change, so I don't need any coinage because it's all whole dollars. Let's see, another thing. Oh, Square Reader. I have a Square Reader for take credit cards, and because I have an iPhone, I have a tap to pay. So all I have to do is plug in my Square Reader, and somebody can tap to pay. That works out really well. I didn't even know I had tap to pay. All I had to do was turn it on in the app. I found that out at my last show, so that's really convenient as well. If you want to take something like Venmo, you would have to make sure you have the Venmo app, and you can you can print off your QR code and have that on in a frame so that people can just scan the QR code so they don't have to scan your phone all the time. I'm not super familiar with Venmo. I've taken it a couple of times, but the fees were really kind of high on Venmo, so I'm not a real big proponent of taking Venmo. Especially if you're using the business Venmo, the fees are really kind of high. I prefer Square. So you can get a Square Reader on their website, and you can get the actual Square Reader for free, and you can it hooks right up to your bank account. So after, I believe it's 24, if it's on the weekend, I think you'll end up getting it deposited on like Monday. But as long as you have Wi-Fi, everything goes through. Even if you don't have Wi-Fi, it'll just be pending until you connect up to Wi-Fi. But if you want to make sure that it goes through right then and there, you can get yourself one of those MiFis from your cell phone company so that you have Wi-Fi at all times. I haven't really had too much problem with it. Usually the places that I do my craft shows, my cellular service on my cell phone has been just perfectly fine. And you want to make sure that you have a battery pack or some type of charger for your phone or your iPad, whatever you're using to process your your credit card transactions, because it will run down your battery on your phone pretty quick. Another thing that you might want to have for a craft show, besides your inventory, is you're probably going to want to bring like a small cooler or something with you to have some drinks, maybe a snack or two with you, and make sure you bring like sunscreen, a hat, bug spray, that type of stuff, especially when you're doing an outdoor show, you know, a thermos for your coffee, and one of those other things that you want to have, because, you know, it is 2024, is hand sanitizer and like Clorox wipes, paper towels, things like that. You might want to bring that with you as well. Especially if you're doing an outdoor show, you might want to have the Clorox wipes if you're using like the porta potties, and hand sanitizer, because you never know if they have them in the porta potty. So you got to have your Clorox wipes and your hand sanitizer. So I think that is the bulk of it. Oh, bungee cords. You're going to want bungee cords for your wagon, because that way you can bungee cord the totes to the wagon so that they don't tip over. That's very important. And oh, the other thing I forgot to say, with your tent, you want weights. You're going to want weights on for your tent, because not every place is going to let you put stakes in the ground, and sometimes you're on pavement. So you definitely want weights for your tent so that your tent does not blow away. Most event coordinators will tell you right in the list when you get your packet from them that you have to weight your tent down. So you definitely want to have weights for your tent. Let me see, am I missing anything else? Tablecloths, hanging banners. Did I say shopping bags? Because you want to make sure you have shopping bags. I get the plastic ones, but you could have paper ones. You can have whatever you want to that matches your business. So you definitely want to make sure you have bags. Signs, notebooks. Yep, I think I covered just about all of the stuff that you want to have for your first show. That's kind of the basics. I mean, there may be some other stuff that you're going to want to have. If you're outside, make sure you have a jacket, maybe a hat. Now, you're probably going to want to wear something, you know, cute or nice, but you definitely have comfortable shoes. You can still wear something, you know, a nice outfit or something, but definitely have comfortable shoes, because you're going to be on your feet a lot. And trying to think if there's other stuff, because there's always something that you're going to forget, but make a checklist the night before so that you can make sure that you have everything that you're going to need. So you have all your display things, all of your merchandise, all your totes, your tables, everything that you're going to need. So have your checklist. I suggest that you pack your car the night before, except for your cash box. Keep your cash box or your cash or whatever in the house with you. You don't want to put that in your car overnight, just in case. Keep that in with you. So that way your car is all packed. Try to get a good night's sleep the night before, and that way you can get up early, and all you got to do is get dressed, get your cash, and get your coffee, and get in your car and get ready to go to your craft show. So if you have any tips and tricks that you might have, because maybe you've done craft shows before, just go ahead and put them in the comment section below. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy crocheting! Bye-bye!